tomorrow, Egghead. Now! Go ahead!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? So today we're at Game Castle Austin. The crew here was cool enough to let me in before opening so that I could finally finish my video review of the Bag EVO. Now, I've started this video on numerous occasions, but each time I find myself either lacking enough footage or I hadn't had enough time to use the bag and get comfortable with it. So I've been coming up here for Miniature Painting Mondays for about 3 months now. Met a really great group of people, and I've had enough time to give the bag some, to use it, to get familiar with it. So now I can actually sit down, show you how much crap I've got packed into that bag, and what a great workspace it really is. So let's jump over to the painting area and we'll check it out. So if you're not sure what we're talking about here, the Bag EVO is a portable paint carrying case and workstation sold by Monument Hobbies. It retails for $195 and it went on sale earlier this year. I picked mine up the night they went on sale. I was terrified they were going to sell out. Fortunately, they didn't. And it's an amazing piece of equipment. I can't say enough good things about this bag.
It is so choice. If you have the means, I highly recommend picking one up.
So yeah, I was really hyped the day this thing showed up. I busted the box open, dragged this thing out. I had already researched it, so I kind of knew about all the bells and whistles, but still, you get something really cool in the mail. You can't wait to dig into it, right? So I fired up the camera and was going to film an unboxing video. And as I started to open the Bag EVO, I realized I didn't have a whole lot of paint in it, for one. For two, it's kind of hard to review something you haven't really used. So short of unboxing it and drooling over what it's going to be able to do, I decided to kind of put the review on hold and maybe approach this from a different angle. So a couple days later, maybe a week or so later, I brought the bag up to work where I have a little bit more room. And by now I had put the wet palette I ordered, the little teal wet and dry 2-in-1 palette. I'll put a link in the description below for that. I did a review last week on that, kind of a means to an end. I ordered it specifically for the Bag. It fits perfectly. And this lamp was something that they had promoted, and I kind of snooped around Amazon and found something very similar. It comes apart, goes together easily, it stores in the back. I'll show that a little bit more in depth later. But I took the bag up to work, and while I had some paint in it and I had a little bit more room to spread out, I still hadn't really used the bag. I hadn't done anything practical with it. So right about this time, I was introduced to Game Castle Austin, my local game store. Great little store. Everything from board games to tabletop wargaming to deck building, role-playing, and a surprising amount of miniature and hobbying supplies as well. Great place. If you're ever in the area, stop by, check them out. Not a paid sponsorship. I just started hanging out there, believe it or not. Pried myself away from my office long enough to start becoming a regular at Game Castle Austin.
Me? No, come on. Don't be crazy.
Yeah, seriously, I tore myself away from my at-home studio and started going to Miniature Painting Mondays, and it became a weekly thing. And as I got to know some people and got a lot more comfortable working there, I found the bag to be a cornerstone of that. I had everything I needed, so I didn't have the stress or anxiety of forgetting this or not packing that. I've got everything I need in this bag and managed to cram a ridiculous amount of stuff in the back, which we'll go over later. So let's address one of the main points, probably the main feature, which is the storage of this bag. As you can see here, this top section is the original 57 basic essential paints. If you have the entire Pro Acryl collection, you've got 57 in this first section. This next section, no reason that I have it sorted this way, I just do. This next section of 6 are Vince's 6 paints, and then this next section is the Ninjon 6 paints. This next row down, these 9 here are the transparents, and then the next 9 below them are the metallics, and then these 3 that I have tucked in the bottom right, are the 3 washes. So as of right now, the bag holds 96. You see there are 6 leftover spaces there. And we already know that they're developing at least 12 new paints. So I'm hoping that maybe we're going to get a bandolier like Chewbacca style to hold all these new paints. I don't know what I'm going to do if I got to pick and choose. But as of right now, if you don't have the full line crammed in here, you've got room for all kinds of stuff. It holds pretty much almost any size. I've jammed everything from a P3 pot and a Citadel pot into some of these spaces to smaller Vallejo bottles. Everything fits just fine. Just word to the wise, make sure when you put your bottles in, you twist them to the clockwise direction so that you're always making sure the caps or lids are twisted closed. You would hate to have something open and spill in the bag. But short of that, everything fits perfectly. There's space for the entire Pro Acryl line as it stands right now. So on top of just talking about the bag, I wanted to show it in action. So on a typical Monday night when I show up to Miniature Painting Mondays, I've got my trusty Red Bull, I've got my little lunchbox full of stuff I'm painting, and my go bag, and that's all I carry. And I'm going to set it up here pretty quickly and show you exactly how much stuff that I have crammed into this bag. I cannot live without this thing. This is I love this bag. I cannot say enough good things about it. It feels like I'm set up for success every time I sit down. I have everything I need. I have more than enough room to work. I mean, I have so much room that there's parts of this I don't actually use. So for me, this was perfect. To each their own, everybody's got their own solution. I was trying to find a perfect solution when this came along, and it was exactly what I needed. So digging into the back of this thing, I have a ridiculous amount of stuff back here. A little box full of tools and bits and bobs, the lamp, the pedestal to the lamp, a cup that I put brushes in and hold bits and bobs, the base to my rinse well, the water cylinder for the rinse well, magnifying glasses, the lens for the magnifiers, the plug for the lamp. Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff crammed in back there. And I've set this up, like I said, every Monday when I come to miniature painting. So I've kind of gotten to a perfect little concise, cohesive setup, and it's not really hard at all. This lamp or something very similar was suggested by Monument in their promotional materials. I don't know that it's the exact same one, but the bottom screws together. It's weighted down. It's not always the easiest to get screwed together, but it's been a reliable lamp. It packs up really flat. It goes well in the back, and you can plug it in just about anywhere. So yeah, the lamp for sure. It's nice. It's out of the way. It's tucked off to one corner. And as long as you have access to power, I think you're good to go. There's a lot of people who bring lamps that are powered by USB and a small, like a battery for a tool from the garage, but this has treated me well so far. I also, again, I carry a lot of stuff. Some people are okay carrying a very minimal amount of crap. I have anxieties of forgetting this, forgetting that, not having every single teeny tiny thing that I need. The potential for catastrophe stresses me out. So if I have everything, I'm good, you know? The foam area in the middle is a nice big workstation, and I have their cutting mat, which I've repurposed, but this side wing, personally, I don't use it. So yeah, get that out of here. Because I'm right-handed, my rinse well and my wet palette, that's on the right for me. Some people may have a use for that, other people may not, but the great part is those two side wings, they attach via Velcro, so you can tear one off. I brought this one for the sake of the review, but for the most part, I leave that side at home and I don't use it. This palette that I carry, again, a link in the description. It's this 2-in-1 thing I found on Amazon. It was the perfect size to fit in this bottom part of the Bag EVO. I mostly just use the bottom half, which is the wet palette half. The top does have some hard dry palette areas you can use. But for the most part, I just use this bottom wet palette, and it packs well, travels well, some extra paper. I usually pack some distilled water in the bag, just in case. You never know when you're going to have access to water. Hopefully you can just fill up anywhere, but just in case, you never know. So yeah, that's about it. Once you get the bag opened up and your stuff set up and clean up any other junk you got. Again, I carry a ridiculous amount of crap. Most people may not carry this much junk. I don't think I take up a ridiculously large amount of room once I clean up all this extra crap. Some people carry more, some people carry less. Some people's stuff is a lot more unorganized. For me, this does exactly what I need. I know that I have the entire current set of Pro Acryl I have it sorted the same way I do at home. I have a wet palette, I have a dry palette, I have paintbrush storage, I have that brush toilet, whatever you want to call it, the rinse well. I carry that around in the back, the lamp, my magnifying glasses. I have everything that I need, short of the miniatures that I carry around with magnets in this lunchbox. And I bring a lot of stuff most of the time, so if I'm waiting on something to dry, I have plenty of other stuff to hop around and work on. Almost every time I come to Miniature Painting Monday, I have at least 2 or 3 things to try to work on. You never know. Inspiration might strike, you work on one thing, maybe not another. But this bag, everything in this bag has a place, a perfect spot for everything for me, for the way I've got it set up. I have all the supplies that I need, and I'm able to sit away from my studio and not complain about, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, I forgot to bring this. So far, I've managed to find a home for everything that I need to feel successful when painting away from my studio at home. And yeah, this bag's kind of the key for me. I was working on building, a tackle box with my own inserts and make it up as I go. And this came along and I'm like, if I tried to design a travel bag myself, I don't know that I could design it this perfectly. This is not a paid sponsorship by Monument. I'm just a huge fan of this bag. So yeah, having said that and shown how it is to set up and spread all your stuff out and use it as a practical work area, again, it holds the entire current collection. It does exactly what it needs to do. It takes up a good amount of space. I don't feel cramped, but I don't feel like I'm encroaching on the people around me. This bag is perfect. It does exactly what I need it to do. So packing up, you saw me set it up when I, show up at the beginning of paint night, breaking it down and packing it all away. It's pretty much the same thing in reverse, as you would expect. As long as you've cleaned up your paints and drained water out of things, which I did off camera. Packing it up, it's pretty much the same thing. I use that 2-in-1, like I said, that top dry palette part. For me, it's mostly brush storage. Pack it up when I get home from Mini Painting Mondays. I always empty out the wet palette so that it can dry and not get all mildewy and funky and nasty. But yeah, packing that up. The extra wing, like I said, I usually keep this at home, so that's not normally a factor. A handful of paper towels, the palette paper, the work surface, that cutting mat, which I use as my main work area. It all fits, it all has a place. So this folds nice and flat. It's going to fold up over your paints and keep them from falling out. Now they're nice and snug in those foam spaces. I've never had one fall out, but I think by design this purposely keeps everything where it needs to be. And then again, this vault, this massive amount of storage in the back, I can break apart this brush toilet, my rinse well, which I emptied off camera. The cup I used to keep the lens and power supply for the lamp from getting crushed and lost in the back. Everything has a nice little place. I've managed to figure out how to Tetris it all in there the same way every time. And putting this stuff when it's time to, break down and go home, it's not that hard. And again, a lamp, a water source, way to magnify what I'm working on, storage for all my stuff, the wet palette. There's a lot more in this bag than just paint. And I appreciate that. It's more than just a box of paints, because anybody could grab their paints off their rack at home, throw them in a shoebox and run out the door and call it done. That doesn't play well to my anxieties. So personally, having this load out, having it set up the way it is, it's important. It makes me feel successful. It makes me feel like what I have, what I need to be successful and enjoy what I'm doing and not feel stressed out by what I'm forgetting or what I'm not doing. So yeah, it packs up nice and easy. Again, I keep my work stuff, what I'm working on, in a lunchbox, and all fueled by Red Bull, or at least by caffeine. So there you go. Thanks for checking out the video. Thanks for tuning in. If you're ever in the area, stop by Game Castle Austin. They've got tons of stuff here. And if you're on the fence about the Bag EVO, I would definitely recommend picking it up. If you've got the ability to grab one, get them before they're gone. It's an amazing piece of equipment. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. If you're interested in the Bag EVO, jump on the Monument Hobbies website, grab one of these while they're still around. Someday they will be gone, and I think people will be sad they missed out. I can't say enough good things about this bag. You've seen me load it up. You've seen me pack it up, carry it, show it in practical use, how much it can hold. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. If not, if you got something out of this review, please hit that like button. It helps a lot. If you know somebody that'll get something out of this, share this video with them. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Egghead Hobbies, and we will see you in the next video.